Hawthorn Membership Day here on SEN. Join now, hawks.team/SEN. I reckon you want to get on things early. Don't jump on the bandwagon in 3 or 4 years' time when this thing starts to bloom and blossom. Mm-hmm. Get on the ground floor. We know what Hawthorn are doing. We spoke to Rob McCartney. He's about to join us down at Geelong in their first trial game. We know what they're doing. Yep. If you're a believer and a true believer and you're not already committed, get committed now so that you can say in 3 or 4 years' time when it really starts to bubble, I was there on the ground floor on day one.
I think that's with all clubs, Andy. I know you've had to, and I'm not saying this to be a smart ass, I know that you have just, through thick and thin, been there for the Blue Baggers. That's what you've got to be complimented for that. As annoying and frustrating as it can be from time to time with some of your carry-on, I respect it.
And you're hoping there's going to be more thick than thin. The GM of Footy Ops down there at the Hawks, Rob McCartney's been good enough to join us. G'day, mate. Thanks for joining us again.
No worries, Andy and Gazy, and I'm not going to, no slights against Gazy today from me in terms of fitness. So,
I've been on a fitness campaign ever since. I haven't eaten.
Positive stuff coming from me.
Well, if you had seen him on the golf, we're down at King Island, Robin. If you had seen him at Ocean Dune today, you as a motivator and a leader and an educator, you would have pulled him aside and had a few words to him today. Because he was petulant, feeble and cowardly on the golf course
what I
today.
was determined.
But anyway, Rob, we don't want to waste any more time with you on that.
None.
You've got to test yourself in a couple of trial games against two of the real heavyweights from last year. In a broad brush sense, how do you assess what you're able to produce?
Yeah, well, and you guys are down there at Geelong. We come up against a pretty good unit, didn't we, that day? And we were well short. But as Sam always says, you either win or you learn. And we come away from that game with a little bit to learn from the experience. And I think the most pleasing part about the Collingwood one, I know the game result was sort of closer in nature, but I think the game started in a similar manner with the opposition in the Pies sort of getting a bit of a jump on us. And against the Cats, once they got on top, we just couldn't get back into a headspace and a mindset that allowed us to compete and fight our way or claw our way back into the game. But the Collingwood game, the Pies kicked 2 or 3 pretty quick goals, and the work that we'd done the week after the Geelong game has really held us in good stead. The boys have composed themselves and realised that this game is one that will challenge them at different times, but they've got to believe in the skill set that they bring and trust that if they keep working, the game will turn at some stage for them, and it did. And a lot better effort, obviously, against the Pies than the Cats. So we've had a bit of a mixed bag in terms of those two games, but I think we come out of the Collingwood one now with a little bit of confidence that the things we have been working on have shown that they stand up against good opposition. And we look forward to playing the Bombers on Sunday, March the 19th.
Yes, and like Andy said, if you're fans out there, you're always looking for the upside, and it might take a little bit of time, but the thing that stuck out to me, Cam Mackenzie, he looked like he had a beauty. A lot of touches of the ball, did some good things, and you must be excited about what he can bring to the table, because he looks so versatile, and also with, was it Fergus Green? He kicked 3 as well. So there's a lot to like, particularly with Cam.
Yeah, look, he had a great game against Collingwood. As you know, he got a corky in the intra-club and didn't play against Geelong. So that was his first hit out against AFL opposition, and he looked composed. He was clean around the stoppage, and he was a great decision maker. I think he had 11 score involvements. Not a bad little effort against your first foray against, obviously a hostile opponent in an AFL competition. I think that's the thing about today, and you guys touched on it, is that get on board today and see this kid play his first game and go on the journey with the rest of that group that showed enough last year that they're determined to fight their way back to where Hawthorn likes to be, and that's not only playing finals but winning them and to play deep in September. And if you start today with us and see Cam's first game, I think you'll enjoy the ride that the club's on.
He surely picked himself for round 1, Rob. I know you don't want to flag too much, but it'd be hard not to see him in the team to kick off the season.
Oh, look, he did everything right, Andy, that's for sure. So I think he gets every chance come round 1. Obviously, it's a few days away, but look, he acquitted himself very well, and and based on form, will be a person that will be discussed pretty strongly at the selection table, I'm sure.
Surely it's no coincidence that he's been given the number 28 jumper. He looked, at times, from behind in particular, he looked exactly like a young Sam Mitchell who, when he first came to the footy club, wore that number for a couple of years. Has that been done deliberately?
Oh, Sam would probably say it has, Andy, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Look, he was deserving of a lower number in terms of being a highest pick, but look, I'm pretty sure that that didn't come into the consideration.
Okay. I wish it did. I would have loved it if it was.
Let's change the dialogue and say it did. I reckon that's
perfect.
A good story, don't you?
Right, lovely. Hey, a lot of people going into these trial games were saying, we want to see where we're at against other teams. We want to play against other teams and see where we sit. Given where your list build is at, do you even care about sizing yourself up against the rest of the opposition, or was it very much an inward-looking focus that your footy team had through those two trial games?
I think at the moment for us, these games are a great chance for us to embed our game style and to build on that. I think we got to a stage at the end of last season that, you could see that attacking brand that Sam is going to be known for as a coach. But probably what we weren't able to do was to defend the opposition when they got a bit of a run on. And I think what we found in those two practice matches is that we were really looking at, can we build on that phase of the game? Against Geelong, you would say it was questionable, but against Collingwood, we were a little bit better, although we've still got a little bit of work to do. So we just feel for us it's very much about probably looking after ourselves at the moment, more so than worrying about what opposition you play. But we got two pretty good ones from last year in terms of getting Geelong and Collingwood. One we were a bit short, and one we sort of showed that we're not too far away with our best footy.
Hey, what do you make of everyone at this time of year is making their predictions, and two of the legends of the club, Luke Hodge and Sean Burgoyne, have really presented a less than optimistic view about this particular season. Is that... what do you make of... I think they've predicted that we might win the wooden spoon.
Yeah, well, I've still got both those boys' phone numbers in my phone. I'll have to give them a ring and see where they're coming from here. But look, I'd suggest that there's going to be some opportunities where our fans are going to come to the footy and probably not expect a great deal in terms of the outcome. A little bit like, we had the game against Geelong on Easter Monday last year, and I don't think too many would have expected us to win, and we did. I think there's still going to be games like that where our young group play well and truly to their potential and surprise some. And look, there'll be still some weeks where we need to go away from games and learn a little bit about how to be consistent in the competition. We're a young group, youngest in the league this season, in average age. So we're going to have some days that we get pretty excited about our footy, and there's probably going to be some days that we walk away thinking we've gone backwards a little bit. But that's the journey of a group that is building towards something special. As a young group, we need to get games into them so that, that average age, not only average age, but average games played by our list grows. And we think that if you pause time now and put 40 games into even our centre bounce group of, say, Reeves, Newcomb, Ward and McKenzie, in 40 games' time, what sort of centre bounce group will they be against the rest of the competition? And we think that they'll be, but at the moment they've got to ply their trade. They're going to probably have to lick their wounds a few times, and they'll have days where they get belief. But that's the journey of a group that's building towards something special.
And we're talking to Rob McCartney, Hawthorn Membership Day. We'll keep giving you the details to commit to hawks.team/SEN if you want to join in. We got to see a bit of, you mentioned that midfield group and that kind of cluster of players who you're looking to bring together and share this journey as a group. And we got to see a bit of Will Day in there last year and again through the pre-season. Are we now committed to Will Day being, one of those rotation players through the middle of the ground? Is that what he's now going to be for the rest of his career, by and large?
Yeah, look, I think even when we drafted Will, there was a real school of thought through our recruiters that Will would be able to develop into a midfielder, and Will's had a little bit of a horrid run with injury, to be honest, after his first season, where he definitely sort of stamped himself as a player of the future. But we've just had to take our time with Will. He needed to put a little bit of size on. He needed to get his body right in terms of consistency of games. But we always thought that he's got a great footy acumen. He just sees the game and understands the game well. He's pretty calm in the congestion and he makes good decisions. So I thought there was a really good chance that he'd develop into a midfielder. But what we also liked about the weekend was that Warple sort of re-announced to a few, I would have thought, that, hey, don't forget me either. I've just turned 24. I've played, 79 games of footy. But I'm looking forward to playing my best footy in the next 50 or 100 games. So there's a little bit to work with, and you even saw McDonald go through the midfield a little bit as well. So he's a little bit like the Will Day type that, he starts as a player outside the square for those initial years, but has the potential to spend a little bit of time inside as well. So we're building a nice core group of players who can play through that midfield in the future.
Just quickly before the chat, did Warple ever lose confidence in his own ability to do what he did in the first couple of years of his career?
Oh, I think, James would be the first to also say that last year was challenging, and when you have a few weeks where you're playing at Box Hill, you sort of start to really search inside and try and find, what it was that made you a player. And he worked exceptionally hard. He's probably one of our hardest trainers. Our playing group, acknowledge that when they talk about standards within the group. He's a standard setter in terms of his work ethic. But when form sort of eludes you for a little while, you do have some self-doubt, but he's been able to work through that and find, the form that made him a player for us in that season. And he won the Crimmins medal.
Mate, it's an exciting group you've got in there. We can't wait to see how it develops and evolves and what it produces in 23 and beyond. Thanks again for being part of our show, Rob. We appreciate it.
Thanks, boys. And, I implore our members and those who aren't members yet to get on board and buy a membership. They'll get an exciting ride and they'll see some young players play, the first parts of what we think will be long careers for our football club and successful one.
Hawks.team/SEN. GM Footy Ops, Rob McCartney joining us.